Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we are talking about Phaser. What the heck is Phaser? Well, Phaser is a JavaScript / TypeScript framework for creating 2D games. If I was going to create a 2D game for the browser, I almost certainly would use Phaser. I've actually done some tutorials on this one in the past. My first tutorial series on Phaser was back in like 2015, so you get an idea how long this guy has been around. We're talking about it specifically today because of this number 4 right here. Yes, Phaser 4 was just released. I'm going to take a quick look at it, give you an idea what Phaser is all about. Maybe it is a good fit for you. We're going to talk then a little bit about what Phaser 4 brings to the table. A lot of what Phaser 4 is all about is this. It's got a completely new renderer, all kinds of high performance stuff added because of that renderer, including the ability to render over 1 million sprites on screen. You can draw up to 100 times faster than before with the GPU doing the heavy lifting now. So there's a bunch of improvements there. We've got tile map improvements, etc. So that is the key thing to Phaser. Again, we'll get back to some of the details about it here. Now, Phaser itself has been used to create a ton of games. You're going to go through, there is a list of them right here. You're going to find, if you get towards the end, some of the bigger titles were around the Marvel series. We've also got Atari used it to bring some of their classic games to the browser, making an idea of what it is capable of. Although, truth of the matter is, probably the most famous Phaser game is this, Vampire Survivors. Up till Vampire Survivors, I believe it was 1.6. It was written in Phaser. They eventually started porting this to a ton of different platforms, the Switch, etc. At that point in time, it was actually ported over to Unity, but the original Vampire Survivors was created using the Phaser framework. Now, interestingly enough, with Phaser 4 and the improved performance we've seen, there's a chance that they would not have needed to do that port at all. But again, the marquee game that was created using Phaser definitely has to be Vampire Survivors. Maybe not the best game ever created with Phaser, as that's obviously subjective, but definitely the most famous one. Another thing to be aware of with Phaser is there is actually an editor available as well. Now, Phaser itself is entirely open source, but the Phaser editor is not. The Phaser editor is a commercial project, but this gives you a Unity-like editing environment. So you got a scene editor here for putting things together, UI layers, you've got your Unity-esque property inspector going on over there. You can do your physics integration in there as well, animation editor in there, asset packer, prefab systems, and so on. The thing you're going to want to know, though, is it's got a price tag attached. This is just for the editor, by the way, and the editor is entirely optional. But you can see here, it's like $15 a month or $12 a month on a subscription. Again, the Phaser editor is completely optional. You do not need it at all. You could use your editor of choice. You could use something like Tiled if you want, or you could easily create your own editor. Just be aware that that option is out there. When you add that Phaser editor into the Phaser framework, then you have more than a framework. You have basically a full-blown web game creation system there put together. Now, one of the things that's super impressive about Phaser, and again, everything we're going to show from this point on is both free and open source, is the huge number of demonstrations there are available. Like, we're talking thousands upon thousands of them, including entire games. So if you want to see how to create a game using Phaser, for example, I could come in here, I want to create a Breakout clone, boom. So this is the code required to create Breakout like this, everything you need to create said game. And then you're going to notice down here, you've got the source code for the asset you're looking for. You get an idea of what Phaser ultimately looks like. I do like the way that this is structured. By the way, you're going to notice everything here is JavaScript, but there are full TypeScript language bindings. So if you prefer to go the TypeScript route, that option is available to you. But this gives you an idea of what a Phaser game looks like. It's pretty straightforward code. And then we go back over here, and if you're working on anything, something with the new renderer, you got a ton of different options here. So various options there, scene changing, and so on. And then we get in here working with, say, tile maps here. You got, I don't know why there's a tile map category, but say you're working on hexagonal games, for example. You got a ton of stuff available there, but then we also have tile maps. I think this is the new stuff for the GPU rendering, and that is, spoiler alert, one of the new features of Phaser 4. But one of the most impressive things about Phaser, again, is it's got very good documentation, and then on top of that, it has this very comprehensive set of demos here. If you're working on something, come up here, you search for it, you can find everything you need there, and get into the details of it, drill down. You switch between the various different versions of it here. Hopefully they work. I think I picked an example that doesn't actually work. But here, you got, again, a ton of examples. You work with a gamepad. All of these examples will walk you through it, and all of them have source code to go with it. always been a nice part about Phaser is the documentation that comes with all those examples in the example library. So here we're taking a look at the GitHub page for Phaser. Again, everything except for the editor is completely open source under the MIT license. And now we're going to get a little bit into what Phaser 4 is all about. So you got some details of what Phaser is all around. Again, it's been around for over 10 years. Like I said, the first tutorial series I did on this was like 2015. So, yep. 10 plus years. You can run it, details there. In terms of size, the whole thing with documentation is an 8 megabyte download. So why would you want to choose Phaser is the first thing they've mentioned here. Number one is it's battle tested. Tens of thousands of games have shipped using it. There's a huge community of developers. It is truly cross-platform, being browser-based. You could embed a browser into your app of choice and install it as an exe if you wish to do so. Or, of course, you can run it in the browsers. Developer-friendly APIs. It is framework agnostic, so you can use React or Vue or Angular or whatever other JavaScript or TypeScript framework you wish to work with. There is a massive ecosystem. Again, 2,000 code examples, full API documentation. There is an active Discord and forum. And then again, TypeScript definitions are available. And this is one of those things that it's going to love it or hate it, and it's going to come up a little bit more in the Phaser 4 what's new. If you're doing the vibe coding thing, people are like all over vibe coding, both 3JS and Phaser. So it leans into that as well. In terms of what is new in Phaser 4 itself, well, they say this is the biggest new release they've ever done. And the big part of it is the new WebGL renderer. So the entire rendering pipeline from V3 was replaced with a new modern node-based architecture, manages WebGL state properly, handles context loss gracefully, and is significantly faster. So, new architecture, V3 replaced clean node-based renderer. Each render node handles a single task. WebGL is fully managed. The state, that is. Context restoration is built in. Result is a renderer that's faster, more reliable, and much easier to extend with custom rendering logic. Quads now use index buffers, reducing the vertex upload costs by a third. Multi-texture batching is smarter, avoids unnecessarily batch breaks on mobile, and the whole system uses just-in-time rendering. Nothing hits the GPU until it absolutely has to. So that's the heart of it. Faster rendering. Point blank. And on top of that, they unified the filter system. So FX and Mask from V3 have been unified into a single powerful filter system here. It has a huge library of built-in filters, including blur, glow, shadow, pixelate, color matrix, bloom, vignette, wipe, and many more. And then we've got some new ones here, including image light, blocky, gradient map, quantize, key, normal tools, blend, and so on. Masks are now a filter too, because again, they were all unified. On top of that, we now have the sprite GPU layer, a new game object designed to render massive numbers of sprites, where standard Phaser rendering handles tens of thousands of sprites. The sprite GPU layer can handle millions or more, up to 100 times faster than it used to be. So the power of GPUs is coming to our rescue. On top of that, we also have a new tile map GPU layer. Same deal. The entire tile map is rendered as a single quad. Shader cost is per pixel, not per tile, so it can display up to 496 or 496 tiles with no performance penalty at all. They overhauled the tinting system. A couple of new game objects have been added, including gradient, noise, noise cell, noise simplex, capture frame, and stamp. There is improvements to the lighting system, and shader and tile sprite improvements as well. And then again, if you're into that whole vibe coding thing, they've got some stuff there as well to work with tools such as Claude Code, Cursor Codex, Anti-Gravity, and GitHub Copilot. So you can scaffold an entire Phaser game basically using an LLM of choice. And there's some agentic skills that are built in there as well. So if you want to use this with AI, they're leaning into that with the Phaser project as well. So ladies and gentlemen, that is Phaser, I don't know. Are you in the same boat? Cloudflare has been super paranoid lately. I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, Phaser 4 is now available. You can check it out at phaser.io. Again, on top of that, there is also the Phaser editor, but again, completely optional. You do not need to pick that one up. And Phaser itself, fully open source project, MIT licensed, and the 4 version, again, the heart of this update is the new renderer. And when you're looking at potentially 100 times better sprite performance, that is pretty tangible. So if you checked out Phaser, if you're going to check out Phaser 4, let me know. Comments down below. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.